This government believes in equality and social justice, and we are determined to build a fairer society where everyone has the chance to fulfil their potential and achieve their ambitions, no matter where they're born or what their parents do. We know, as all Labour governments know, that the only way of unlocking the potential of individuals and our country as a whole is when we collectively provide real opportunities and real support. I am proud of the steps that this government has already taken to deliver on our promise of a better future for all. We're creating more good jobs in every part of the country, including through our modern industrial strategy and plans for clean energy. We're investing in our vital transport infrastructure, in skills, and getting the NHS back on its feet. Our landmark employment rights bill will improve the quality of work, and our increases in the national minimum wage are helping make work pay. But alongside these vital steps, we also need to reform the welfare state. The principles set out in our Pathways to Work Green Paper are rooted in values I know many MPs share. That those who can work must work, but often need proper support to do so. Those who can never work must be protected, and that the welfare state must be fair both for those who need support and for taxpayers, so it is sustainable for generations to come. But the system we inherited from the party opposite is failing on all these fronts. It incentivises people to define themselves as incapable of work just to be able to afford to live. It then writes them off and denies them any help or support. The result is 2.8 million of our fellow citizens now out of work due to long-term sickness. Almost 1 million young people not in education, employment or training. That's a staggering 1 in 8 of all our young people. Now, I know MPs on this side of the House have welcomed many aspects of our reforms. Our plans to bring in the first ever sustained above-inflation rise to the Universal Credit Standard Allowance. The first permanent real terms increase in the headline rate of out-of-work benefits since the 1970s, and historic change in the direction of public policy. The biggest ever investment in employment support for sick and disabled people, quadrupling what we inherited from the Tories to £1 billion a year. Our plans to ensure that people with severe lifelong health conditions will never be reassessed, removing all the unnecessary and unacceptable anxiety this brings. And our plans to legislate for a right to try, guaranteeing that trying work in and of itself will never lead to a benefit reassessment, giving people the confidence to take the plunge and try work, something many organisations have called for years. But, Mr. Speaker, there have also been real concerns about our initial proposals. We have listened carefully, and we are making positive changes as a result. First and foremost, many members of this House, alongside disabled people and their organisations, have been very concerned about requiring existing claimants to score a minimum of 4 points on at least one activity to be eligible for the daily living component of PIP when they are reassessed after November 2026. And they've been concerned that the pace of change was too fast. I fully understand that even though 9 out of 10 people claiming PIP when the changes come in would be unaffected by the end of this Parliament, that this has caused deep and widespread anxiety amongst existing claimants, because they rely on the income from PIP for so many different aspects of their lives. So we will now ensure the new 4-point requirement will only apply to new claims from November 2026. This means no existing claimants will lose PIP because of the changes brought forward in this bill, and existing claimants of passported benefits like carers allowance will continue to get them too. Whilst there has been widespread support for the extra investment we are putting into employment support for sick and disabled people, I know many honourable members on this side of the House have been concerned that this isn't enough. So I can today announce we are putting an additional £300 million into employment support for sick and disabled people. So we will be delivering a total of £600 million for support next year, £800 million the year after, and £1 billion in 28-29, increasing our total spending on employment support for sick and disabled people to £3.8 billion over this Parliament, because disabled people who can work shouldn't wait to have the same rights and chances to work as everybody else. And the measures we are announcing today will cost around £2.5 billion in 2029-30, and the overall savings and costing of our reform package will be certified by the OBR in the normal way at the next fiscal event. Mr. Speaker, welfare reform is never easy, but it is essential, because there is no route to equality or social justice based on greater benefit spending alone. The path to a fairer society, where everyone can thrive, where people who can work get the support they need, and where we protect those who cannot work, that is the path we seek to build with our reforms.
This is a government in chaos. Open rebellion from their own backbenches, unfunded U-turns costing billions, and welfare plans that are not worth the paper they are written on. Their latest idea is a two-tier welfare system to trap people in a lifetime of benefits and deny them the dignity of work, while leaving the taxpayer to pick up the ever-growing bill. Mr. Speaker, it is a long-held Conservative belief that those who can work should work. Work provides security and purpose. That's why we launched universal credit, simplifying complex benefits and ensuring that work always paid. And it works. During the decade up to the pandemic, we got the number of people on benefits and the benefits bill itself down. 800 jobs were created for every day that we were in office, giving millions of people the dignity and security that work brings. But then, during the pandemic, we saw something new. The health and disability bit of our benefit system started to break. The bill is forecast to hit £100 billion by 2030. £1 in every £4 of income tax will be spent on health and disability benefits, more than the entire defence budget. This is not fair for the taxpayer, not fair for people who are written off, and certainly not sustainable for the country. Yet, despite Labour having 14 years in opposition and now a year in government, they still don't have a plan to bring down the welfare bill or get people into work. What we now have before us is a rushed and chaotic compromise. It is not reform in any sense of the word. It is woefully unambitious about savings, conspicuously lacks compassion, and achieves no meaningful change of a system we all know is broken. Thanks to the government's latest climbdown, we are left with a plan that will save just £2.5 billion of a £100 billion bill by introducing a two-tier system. Two people diagnosed with Parkinson's a week apart will now receive different levels of support, all to clear up an internal Labour argument. The government's own impact assessment shows that these plans won't get a single person into work. The idea that work is the guiding motivation for these changes is laughable. Is this it? Aren't there any more savings? Aren't they going to get any more people into work? Is this the extent of their ambition for reforming the welfare system during their time in office? In 5 years' time, is this going to be her legacy?
Secretary of State.
Well, I'm in listening mode, and I listened carefully to what the honourable lady said, and once again her strategy seems to be to rail against the problems she and her party created. I mean, she did have a bit of chutzpah to talk about a two-tier system. That's precisely what members opposite did when they protected people on legacy benefits, when they moved on to UC, and they replaced DLA with PIP. They are part of that, and they should admit that rather than making those points. She said we should bring back face-to-face reassessments. We are, because they switched them off. But to be honest, everyone's still no clearer about what their policy actually is. She and the Shadow Chancellor claim they had a plan to cut £12 billion from the welfare bill in their manifesto. But the truth is, it was nothing but a vague idea about turning PIP into vouchers, and she talks about fit notes. I think you tried to reform them about 3 or 4 times. It completely failed, as have all their other efforts. And the one change they did propose was to the work capability assessment, and their consultation was ruled illegal by the courts. What is beyond doubt is the mess they left our welfare state and country in. Economic inactivity rising, it's coming down under Labour. Disability benefits doubling and the cost to taxpayers soaring too. We are putting in place real reforms based on our values, fair for those who need support and for taxpayers. That's the leadership this country deserves.
I'm now coming to the Chair of the Select